head coach Stephanie White is so against Caitlin Clark. She's getting battered night in, night out, pushed around, battered.
Her confidence has been destroyed by coaches. Recreate Iowa. Build a new team around her.
The cat is out the bag.
People look at this picture and they say Clark is getting the early start on recruiting.
Because it's very, very clear that Stephanie White is not the right coach for Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is done staying silent.
Caitlin either need to get the hell out of Indy.
There's so many things that are going wrong right now in Indiana with how this Caitlin Clark shit has been working out, and it's one thing after the other, after the other.
Stephanie White do not want Caitlin Clark to shoot the ball.
If I have 2 back-to-back in a row, I'm probably going to launch a third. Your confidence just builds.
This team doesn't go anywhere without Caitlin Clark being Caitlin.
After being held back by a coach and teammates who won't play her way, she's now asking for real changes in Indiana.
She sees that the Indiana Fever need help with getting players. They don't think she's worthy of building around.
From building her own team to speaking out about the unfair treatment, she's taking charge. If you support Caitlin, drop a CC22 in the comments.
There's one person in this league that when she walks in the building, when she walks in the room, the owners see dollar signs. There's only one person, and her name's Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is the face of a league.
Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA as a once-in-a-generation star, the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, a long-range sniper with elite court awareness few in the league can match. But instead of being unleashed, she's been restricted, not by defenders, not by nerves, but by her own coach.
Stephanie White is not the right coach for Caitlin Clark. We are going to question Stephanie White's ability to specifically coach Caitlin Clark.
Stephanie White is so against Caitlin Clark. It's clear as day, and it's very much clear as day that this front office dropped the ball in hiring her.
Game after game showed a troubling pattern. Caitlin would catch fire, draining deep threes, flipping momentum, bringing fans to their feet, and then suddenly she'd stop shooting. Not because she went cold, because she was told to stop. This was crystal clear in the Liberty matchup. 5 threes in the first half, barely a look in the second.
And this is the game where Caitlin Clark hit 5 threes in the first half. This is the game where Caitlin was on an all-time heater, and then randomly, she just stopped shooting.
Even Caitlin admitted on air. Most players get the green light after hitting 2 or 3. She didn't.
If I have 2 back-to-back in a row, I'm probably going to launch a third that maybe isn't advised by Steph, but I got to get it up. And then if the third goes in, you're just hot. I think as a shooter, your confidence just builds and builds and builds. It's just coming off your hand better. The rim looks big.
She was told to hold back.
Caitlin Clark went on Super Podcast and dropped major gems, bro. She let it be known that Stephanie White do not want her to shoot threes.
To play it safe, to follow a game plan that smothered her strengths.
White do not want Caitlin Clark to shoot the ball. It's clear as day. She want to run this motion offense.
That's not coaching. That's sabotage. And this isn't just a fan theory.
Coach didn't want her to shoot that 3. And I understand. You can't tell a shooter not to shoot.
Caitlin herself spoke on a podcast, calmly but clearly, hinting at her frustration. Her words were measured, but the meaning was loud and clear.
That was Caitlin Clark speaking about Stephanie White not really wanting her to take shots.
So professionally, that Liberty game, I feel as a shooter, when you see 2 or 3 go in, especially for me, if I have 2 back-to-back in a row, I'm probably going to launch a third that maybe isn't advised by Steph, but I got to get it up. And then if the third goes in, you're just hot. I think as a shooter, your confidence just builds and builds and builds. It's just coming off your hand.
She's being held down, forced into a version of the game that doesn't reflect who she is.
League are not ready for that style. They're not ready for that up and down.
And it's not just about her jumper. It's about identity. Caitlin thrives on instinct. She sees the game seconds ahead of everyone else.
She sees the game 10 steps ahead, okay? Her spatial awareness is next level.
That's what made her unstoppable at Iowa. Not just the logo threes, but her feel for pace.
You have got to let Caitlin be Caitlin. Caitlin went and hit those 3 threes in 30-something seconds.
Her creativity, her playmaking magic. That's what fans show up for. That's the star the league needs. But instead of building around that, Stephanie White tried to mold her into something else. A system piece in a structured motion offense where the ball rarely returns. The worst part? You can see the toll. Caitlin Clark, once bold and fearless, now second-guesses herself. She pump fakes shots she used to take without blinking. She looks to the sideline when she used to trust her gut.
Where she was like wide open on the 3-point line. She like pump faked and like nearly turned it over. I think she did turn it over because she was scared to shoot the ball. We can't see Caitlin Clark second guessing jump shots. Like, that's not good.
That's not Caitlin. That's what happens when a player is shackled by the one person who should be unlocking her. The coach had a choice. Let Caitlin be Caitlin and change the game, or fight for control. She chose control.
Stephanie White will be the reason Caitlin Clark is the reason they lose so many fans. I think Stephanie White in general, there has to be some sort of an ultimatum.
She chose a system over a star, and now we're watching the fallout unfold.
Her confidence has been destroyed by two genius coaches.
Because this isn't just poor coaching, it's betrayal. A betrayal of Caitlin's gifts, her rise, and her future with this team. And Caitlin sees it. She may not call it out directly, but the frustration is all there. In her expression, her hesitation, and her quiet resistance. She knows something has to shift. And that change? It starts at the top. If coaching has let Caitlin Clark down, the roster around her hasn't done her any favors either. It's not just that the Fever are losing, it's the way they're losing.
Indiana Fever players have low IQ, basketball IQ. They don't understand the game.
The pieces don't connect. The rhythm isn't there. And worst of all, the organization seems completely clueless about what Caitlin actually needs to succeed. She wasn't drafted to blend in. She is the identity. But Indiana keeps refusing to build around her. Let's start with the biggest issue, basketball IQ. At Iowa, Caitlin played with teammates who understood movement, spacing, timing, and selfless basketball. That's not what she's dealing with now. Instead, she's surrounded by players who consistently make poor reads, ignore mismatches, and offer little help off the ball. It's not that they lack talent, it's that they don't play her style.
Indiana Fever players have low IQ, basketball IQ. They don't understand the game.
And that's a huge problem when your star thrives on pace, flow, and sharp execution. Aaliyah Boston is one of the few who's adapted well. When Clark draws defenders, Boston positions herself smartly and finishes plays.
Aaliyah is great playing off of Caitlin. She can make good decisions when Caitlin draws both defenders, passes it to Aaliyah. Now it's Aaliyah plus 3 other Fever members against 3 defenders. Aaliyah can make the right decision.
That's the kind of on-court connection you can build something real around. Same goes for Lexi Hall and Sophie Cunningham, solid role players who hustle, stay in their lane, and don't disrupt the flow. But beyond them, the rest of the team has struggled to keep up.
Lexi, Sophie, similar. But the rest of them, they're just not, there's no way you can recreate Iowa with that.
Take Kelsey Mitchell. She's a vet who's been the go-to option for years, even as the Fever kept piling up losses. And now, she's not ready to hand the keys over. It shows. She'll cut Caitlin off in transition, force one-on-one plays, and kill momentum right when Clark starts cooking. The chemistry's off. The energy feels tense.
Kelsey Mitchell, she's struggling relinquishing that to Caitlin. Kelsey is not, you can't recreate Iowa with Kelsey.
And it's clear there's a disconnect. But this isn't just about individual players. It's a culture issue. At Iowa, Caitlin had teammates who wanted to set screens, wanted to get her open, and understood movement without the ball. In Indiana, the offense often looks stuck, no spacing. Players just standing. Screens that come late, or not at all. And the worst part? Clark is left alone at the top, dribbling the clock down, trying to make something out of nothing. It speaks volumes that Caitlin's already reaching beyond the Fever to find players who actually get it. Her bond with Sabrina Ionescu? It's not just personal, it's about shared vision.
She's spending a lot of time with Sabrina. She's good friends with Sabrina. What Caitlin is really doing right here, she's trying to recreate Iowa.
About basketball brains. About finding someone who sees the game the same way. Caitlin is trying to rebuild the ecosystem that helped her shine, because clearly the Fever aren't doing it for her.
She sees that the Indiana Fever need help with getting players. They're not good at it. They don't think she's a star. They don't think she's worthy of building around. They don't think she's worthy of consulting.
And don't forget the draft. Indiana had a chance to send a message that they were ready to invest in Caitlin's success. Her Iowa teammate Kate Martin was available. She had chemistry, familiarity, and would have made the adjustment smoother. But Indiana passed and picked players who didn't even make the final roster. That wasn't a scouting issue. That was a statement, one that ignored Caitlin's needs entirely. Even worse, some teammates are now subtly pushing back, not just in games, but behind the scenes. During a recent protest involving team shirts, not a single one of Caitlin's close allies showed up. That wasn't bad timing. That was intentional. That was a message. This locker room is divided. Between the old guard and the face of the future, they're refusing to welcome. Then there's the front office, still sending mixed signals. They promote Caitlin nonstop, use her to fill seats, and plaster her image everywhere. But when it comes to giving her real support, real shooters, real passers, they fall short. They want Caitlin's stardom, but they won't hand her the reins.
So she's probably going out to do that herself.
Bottom line, Caitlin Clark isn't just another draft pick. She's not just a promising rookie. She's the most game-changing figure women's basketball has seen in years. Fans know it. Broadcasters know it. The league knows it. But somehow her own franchise doesn't. And if something doesn't change, if they don't start constructing a team that fits her style, her speed, her vision, it may already be too late. Because this isn't just about numbers. This is about trust.
Because she's the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history.
Indiana had a golden chance to build a legacy, and instead they've left their superstar stranded with a team that won't move, won't pass, and won't follow her lead. And Caitlin, she's watching. She's remembering. And soon, she may be the one forcing the changes no one else will make. Caitlin Clark hasn't held a press conference. She hasn't posted any fiery rants or demanded a trade online. But don't mistake her silence for surrender. She's making moves. Quiet, strategic, intentional. Because if the Indiana Fever won't create the system she needs, Caitlin will build it herself. And every low-key step she's taken this season points to one clear message. She's done waiting for this franchise to catch up. Let's start with the photo that lit up social media. Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu, laughing together, locked in conversation during All-Star Weekend. At first glance, it seemed like a light moment between two stars. But those who know the game saw more. A calculated connection. Sabrina's system works. Caitlin's searching for one. They're more than friends. They're in sync on and off the court.
A team on the up and up. This exciting team that was ran by one player and a coach. It's sounding like a coach actively trying to stop what the player does well, what the fans want to see.
They speak the same basketball language. And Caitlin's spending more time with minds like Sabrina's than with her own squad? That's no accident. That's a plan. Because Caitlin sees the writing on the wall. This roster doesn't fit. Remember, her Iowa legacy wasn't just about deep threes and flashy passes. It was built on trust. Teammates who worked off her rhythm, moved with purpose, and embraced their roles.
A team on the up and up. This exciting team that was ran by one player and a coach. It's sounding like a coach actively trying to stop what the player does well, what the fans want to see.
That bond didn't come from schemes. It came from shared hunger and basketball IQ. Indiana hasn't even come close to matching that. So Caitlin is doing what stars do, outgrowing the dysfunction and laying the bricks for something better.
The players that she was most effective around didn't have huge egos, and they had IIQs. Bringing girls that know how to set a screen and are happy to set a screen. Looking for Caitlin all day long.
Look at the All-Star jersey protest. Most WNBA stars participated, united in statement shirts. But Caitlin's circle? Absent. That wasn't a scheduling issue. It was a message. A quiet split from a narrative she didn't sign off on. A subtle line in the sand, showing she's choosing her own direction, refusing to be swept into causes or agendas she doesn't control. Even her body language on the court has evolved. When teammates miss her on the break, no reaction. When she's pulled during crunch time, no argument. When possessions fall apart and she's isolated in the corner, still she stays composed. But don't confuse that with indifference. That calm is calculation. She's taking stock, watching who flows with her, who disrupts, who shares the rock, who stalls the offense, watching who empowers her, and who reins her in.
People look at this picture and they say Clark is getting an early start on recruiting.
Head coach Stephanie White is so against Caitlin Clark. She's getting battered night in, night out, pushed around, battered.
Her confidence has been destroyed by coaches. Recreate Iowa. Build a new team around her.
In the front office, Caitlin hasn't forgotten what they did at the draft. Her longtime teammate, Kate Martin, someone who knew her timing, her instincts, her style, was right there. And the fever passed. Instead, they chose a player who didn't even make the final roster. That wasn't just a missed opportunity. That was a signal, and Caitlin heard it loud and clear. Worse yet, the team continues to lean on her image for tickets, ratings, and merch, while forcing her to shrink inside a system that suffocates her game.
Caitlin either need to get the hell out of Indy,
because it's very, very clear that Stephanie White is not the right coach for Caitlin Clark.
Stephanie White do not want Caitlin Clark to shoot the ball.
If I have 2 back-to-back in a row, like I'm probably going to launch a third. Your confidence just builds.
This team doesn't go anywhere without Caitlin Clark being Caitlin.
There's so many things that are going wrong right now in Indiana with how this Caitlin Clark shit has been working out, and it's one thing after the other, after the other.
They love the profits she brings, but they've done little to elevate her play. They opt for comfort over change, familiarity over fit. They expect her to carry the load and then act surprised when the system caves in around her. This isn't just bad management, it's about control. The Fever wanted the hype without the responsibility, the spotlight without the sacrifice, the face of the league without giving her the tools to lead it. But the cracks are growing, and Caitlin is already pivoting.
Recreate Iowa. Don't weave her into a 6 in 2014. Build a new team around her.
Very, very clear. She was hurt.
You just don't allow it to recover. You keep throwing her ass back out there. She keeps telling you she's good.
Because Caitlin Clark may be humble and poised, but she's no rookie when it comes to the game behind the game. She knows when she's being sidelined, and she knows how to shift the balance. What we're witnessing isn't passivity, it's positioning. She's becoming her own architect. Whether that leads to reshaping the roster from within, forcing change at the top, or quietly setting up an exit to a team that gets her, the chessboard is already in motion. This is the start of a power shift. And let's be clear, Caitlin holds all the leverage. She's the reason arenas are packed. She's the reason ratings are up. She's the magnet turning casual viewers into loyal fans. She didn't just arrive. She transformed the entire landscape, and she's not going to let that momentum die inside a broken system.
Your coach keeps lying and calling it a day-to-day situation.
But in any case, it's not day-to-day.
Caitlin Clark doesn't need to speak out to start a revolution. Her poise, her pace, her connections, they're speaking for her. If the Fever keep ignoring the signs, she won't beg. She'll leave.
It's lost money for what, 28 years now, 27 years, 26 years? However long, it ain't never turned a profit.
And they'll be stuck watching the future they fumbled thrive somewhere else. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just a name. She is the future. And right now, she's already rewriting the rules.
Caitlin Clark is the one bringing in the numbers.
Well, there's one that moves the needle.
We agree with why we're watching for the league. We're really watching for Caitlin Clark. Everyone's going to be making more because of Caitlin Clark. Who's the leverage? Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark isn't asking. She's not hoping. She's asserting. With every no-look dime, every ice-cold glance, every quiet rejection of a system that never fit her game. The coach tried to contain her. The roster couldn't keep up, and the front office misjudged her fire. But Caitlin's stance is loud and clear. Either the Fever rebuild around her, or she'll go where they will. This isn't a threat. It's the opening chapter of a takeover. Because real stars don't wait their turn, they rewrite the script. And Caitlin Clark's just getting started.